So, umpteen million years ago, when I had the house, we used to do a thing called a gate sale. I'll try to imagine a bunch of houses on a block. They all practically all look the same. They're all kind of connected to each other, and they have, let's say, a gate in front of each individual property. Well, that was, my opportunity to have my version of a yard sale, except we used to call them a gate sale. So virtually there's no difference other than the fact that there was a gate in front of me on the property. There you go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money More Jan channel. There are a few wonderful things that we could do to make our yard sales, our gate sales, or some people call garage sales, whatever, to make them, in my opinion, a little bit more successful. And how do I know this? Because I used to do gate sales, okay? And there were some that were better than others. And it all has to do with planning ahead. This is really important. Number one, get the word out that you're having a gate or yard sale. Very important. If people don't know what's going to happen, you're just going to get a handful of random people that just might be walking around the block for whatever the reason that day, randomly, as opposed to specifically doing a name it and claim it date and, maybe mention, rain or shine, or mention if it rains out, an alternate date, something to that. But keep the information out there. And these days, it is so simple to get the word out there to, that, as opposed to a while back. So, get the word out there is really, really important. Want to mention to you a pet peeve that I really didn't care for. Okay. And when I would be the visitor to a yard sale or a gate sale. So just getting my trusty notebook because I didn't want to miss a beat on this. All right. Well, we'll get into pet peeves in a minute. But one of the things that I did that was highly successful, I had tables. I had lots of tables, for example. Let's say I wanted to have 6 tables in my small gated area. I'm just using that as an example. Every single table was grouped. It was grouped, it was related to, for example, let's say kitchen appliances were in one area, okay? Home decor was in another area. Let's say baby items were in another area. But every single table had a number on it because I have attended, I mean, a dollar amount number. For example, there was a dollar table, there was a $2 table, there was a $5 table. I rarely went over having a $10 table. I didn't want to deal with that. I just didn't. So, for whatever the reason, but I wouldn't go past a $10 table. Having the tables grouped separately with categories, you could, for fun, have a random table like towards the end. Maybe it creates more excitement. I don't know. But my having my different individual tables with a clear price on them save a lot of headache. How many times have you ever gone to a garage sale or yard sale or a gate sale and you're looking at something that is of interest to you? There is absolutely zero price determination on it. Zero price. How can you even think of doing a transaction? So what it does is it forces the person. And what I never liked was, oh, okay, let's say you see a pair of house slippers that you really like. Okay, zero price on a table. You're looking all over the place, no price whatsoever. And somebody's sitting at the table that's running it. So, okay, so how much for these slippers? And inevitably, that person would turn around to somebody else out there and go, Sam, how much are the slippers? I don't know. Okay, so the buyer doesn't know, the person at the table doesn't know, and Sam doesn't know. Does that make for a very willing transaction to happen? So what happens is then that person sitting at the table, I don't know if this is a gag or a routine. I've seen it so often. I don't like it. I'm just sharing my opinion. And then the person sitting at the table turns around, okay, and says, well, how much do you want to pay for it? Putting the burden of figuring out a price of an item that they just saw 2 seconds ago. Now, for, let's say, a vintage reseller, I mean, a veteran reseller that's been reselling for years, they could easily figure out a price. They could. But what about the regular mom and pop person, which is hopefully some of the folks that you get at your gate sale, garage sale, yard sale? That person may not know the right thing to say, and it puts them in on the spot, on the line, and in an embarrassing position. So, can I tell you what I bet is going to happen? 9 out of 10 times, zero transaction. Zero. Why? Yes, because it's almost intimidating. And I really don't believe that the burden of figuring out the price of the item should go on the potential buyer. See, a lot of people that hold these sales don't think that way. And they're like, Sam, how much? I don't know. And the person sitting there doesn't know. Well, yeah, take a minute and know your prices. I'm not saying you have to stick a tag on everything, but it was very helpful what I did. I made group tables. Okay. Let's say there were like glassware, dishes and all that stuff. That would go on one table. That would be one blanket price. Honestly. Okay. This I'm just suggesting because you don't want it to result in zero transaction. You want to help somebody. You have a reason. There's a reason why people hold gate sales and yard sales. They want, let's just put it bluntly out there. They want to get rid of their stuff. Let's try this over. Why do people have gate sales and yard sales? To occupy a Saturday? No. No, I don't think so anyway. No. They want to get rid of their stuff. Does this make sense? So placing the burden of the pricing onto the potential buyer, in my opinion, is a turnoff. It would be for me. I've been to them years ago, not now, because in the city you don't see too many yard sales. I'm just saying, but I'm just saying. But when I was doing them elsewhere, let me tell you something. That would be a turnoff, and I'd like say, wow, they don't even care enough about their stuff to figure out a price and have me figure out. And the other embarrassing thing is if the potential buyer, gives a price and then they shake their head. Well, this looks brand new and you could get it on eBay for, well, wait a minute. I thought you had no idea of the price. Is it like a test? The potential buyer should not be put up to a test. They're there to make purchases. You're there to get rid of stuff. Meet it halfway. Be ready. This is my opinion. Hopefully, many people will agree with me. And if not, well, I don't think you're going to get the transactions that you could. That's my opinion. All right. So I had written it down in like fancy words on my own, but in this case, I just let you know, spontaneously my opinion of that. Oh, here's another thing that's really a huge mistake. Not having enough change ready for the buyer. Huh? Hey, you got change of 20? Gee, I don't know. Wait a minute. You're holding the yard sale, the gate sale, the garage sale. Now, I get it. Sometimes it happens. I do get it that sometimes you could get bombarded because a lot of the ATMs, put out 20, 20, 20, 20, try to get a 10. It's like a hard thing. Yes, bird clock. But in the perfect world, the would-be buyer would take a bunch of singles with them, singles, fives, and tens. That's a great thing to do. In the perfect world. We don't live in perfect world. So once again, in my honest, the responsibility of having enough change available, again, goes on the person that's hosting the gate sale, the yard sale, the garage sale. Does that make sense? Yes. Presume that no one showing up has change. Just make believe. Well, a lot of people say, yeah, but they know they're going to the sale. Why don't they bring change? I agree that they should bring some change, but we do not live in perfect world. So in the controlled world where you can control your action, then it's our responsibility as the person holding the sale to be sure to have as much change as possible. Sometimes people ask, and I don't know if it's polite. I don't think it's polite. First question out of the person holding the gate sale. Are you a reseller? Honestly, I don't see what bearing that has to do with the transaction. just because a person happens to be knowledgeable, that's where a lot of people pick or get their sources out to replenish their sources for maybe they're online sales people and all that. So they source out by going to yard sales and so on. Is it the person holding the yard sales business if that person is a reseller? Or like making like rude comments. Oh, I see what you're doing. You're looking online comparing prices. Listen, anyone has the right to turn around and do the extra work that it takes to go online and do the listing and pay all the fees. Some people want a quick sale. Again, let's go back to the original purpose why one is having a gate sale or yard sale. You want to get rid of stuff. Tell me I'm wrong. So if I'm looking to get rid of stuff, I'm not interested at that moment in time on those items going on a listing. Then I have to pack it. Then I have to go to the post office. Some people don't want it. So if the other person wants a little meat on their bones, for a transaction, a reseller has to charge a little more money. So is it really my business if that person is a potential reseller? No. Now, if that person wishes to volunteer and say, I am a reseller and I would like to buy a box lot of XYZ item on table number 3 for $5, that's a different world. Then two of you could get into it. But in my opinion, the person holding the garage sale, etc., shouldn't be asking questions. That's like that. Just do the transaction. The idea is do the transaction. I know. All right. And finally, here's a really strong suggestion, but a lot of people don't do this. They don't follow the suggestion. Unfortunately, what they do is what I really personally don't like. How many times have you ever gone to a yard sale, a church sale, even a church sale sometimes? They do this habit of putting the items on a tarp, laying down on the floor, and you have to get like a backache by the end of your yard sale, shopping day. Not everyone is able to see the item on the floor. I don't think it's good for the item. I don't think it makes a pretty presentation. And I don't think it's a fair thing to put on the potential buyer. You want to make that buyer comfortable and informed and have a quick answer and be ready. The whole point is a little preparation. Sometimes it takes a few weeks to get a decent yard sale or gate sale together. This is not just fly by night. Have you ever gone somewhere where you can tell, like, well, this thing was probably mishmash put together in 2 hours? Maybe, unfortunately, in some situations, it's a forced situation and they couldn't prepare properly. But in the situations which usually are well in advance prepared, it's just for a smoother thing. But putting the stuff on tarp on the ground, how many of you have attended sales like that? And by the end of the day, you walk home with an awful backache. It's terrible. And it just doesn't make for a good presentation. And I don't think it makes for good sales. Large items, like let's pretend you're selling large items, like you have an old crib or an old, but well taken care of baby stroller or something like that. Okay. Some people put them in the front of the sale for high, quick visibility. That's fine. That can't really be put on a table. Okay. But the little things all strewn across the tarp on the ground, I don't know. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Those are a few of my tips and tricks. I could get into it more. I hope this helps at least one person. I have had some pretty successful gate sales back in the day. It is a great way to make quick cash. So if you're looking to make quick cash, or you want to clean out your own garage, or like stuff is like bursting out of the seams in your home, this is a great opportunity, and you don't want to deal with the listing. So you settle for the lower prices. And at the end of the day, now this is where the smart shopper comes in. They know, they're trained into this because they're experienced. They'll go towards the very end of the day to get the absolutely lowest prices on things. Because let's be honest, again, I state, the person holding the garage sale or gate sale wants to get rid of all their stuff, and they are going to price it to sell. They don't want to have to be bothered putting everything back in a box, everything back in the house. No, they don't want to do that. They want it to go. All right, everybody, have an amazing, fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate everybody's time. Tell me some of your favorite tips or tricks down below in the comment section about yard and garage sales. Let me know if there are any pet peeves you may have also with certain garage sales, and let's hear your input. It's very important. We help each other out. Have a great day, everybody. Take good care.